Hello guys, this is Mig Jiménez and you are listening Beyond the Box Art.
Hiya Benchmates, this is Beyond the Box Art, the official podcast of the International Plastic Modelers Society UK. Please welcome your host, Paul Pendleton-Brown, and joining him this episode are Mike Baldwin, Dan Brazil, James Nevitt, and Mark Housley. In this episode, we welcome a guest that once weathered a tank so realistically, NATO tried to deploy it. He is Mig Jiménez.
Hi Benchmates, and welcome to episode 8 of Beyond the Box Art, the podcast where sprues are snipped, paint pots are shaken, and occasionally someone forgets to clean their airbrush before going to bed. Your crew for this episode consists of yours truly, Paul Pendleton-Brown. My friends call me Brownie, so let's be friends. I'm joined by the tannic aficionado himself, Boulders, Nevs, our nautical shipwright, who's currently knee-deep in building a supermarine Spitfire. That doesn't make any sense. And Mark, who has more plastic than an episode of the Kardashians, allegedly. And making his debut in the seat, the man, the myth, the AFV modelling maestro, Dan Brazil. Yes, we finally have someone who can pronounce 12 different shades of Jagdpanzer and not fill the email inbox with mispronunciation complaints. So Dan, welcome to the pod, and let's start off with you telling us a little bit about yourself and your modelling CV.
Hi everyone, my name's Dan Brazil. I'm a proud member of IPMS West Norfolk. And it's a bit strange to be here, to be honest with you, because a few weeks ago I was just a consumer of this podcast, and now I'm actually here. So I think I've fallen down Alice's rabbit hole. I'm predominantly an armour modeller who builds aeroplanes as well, and pretty much anything that I'd like to have in the display cabinet, to be honest with you.
Fantastic. Okay. Thanks, Dan. Welcome on board. Now, our guest for this episode. What can I say? Let's be honest, he doesn't really need an introduction. In fact, if you've been anywhere near a bottle of acrylic paint in the last 20 years, you'll know the name. He is modelling royalty. The man who's inspired thousands of workbenches worldwide, whose products have changed the way we weather, shade, chip, and finish our mini masterpieces. We are more than excited to welcome none other than Senor Mig Jiménez from ANO, fresh from his trip to the USA and the IPMS Nationals. This promises to be a fascinating conversation, a deep dive into the history, inspiration, and maybe a few secrets from the man himself. Strap in, grab your favourite brush, and let's get started. Episode 8 starts now. Okay, time to see what everyone's got on the bench. Mark, what have you got on the workbench since the last episode?
Pretty much the same, to be honest. I've still got my little PZL P23 Caras. Not really done much with it over the couple of weeks, to be honest with you. It's pretty much the same as it was.
And what have you bought?
Purchases this week. Went a little crazy. Went over to my favourite shop on the Sunday and I picked up the new Special Hobby 1/72nd scale mosquitoes. Couldn't make my mind up on which one, so bought them both.
As you do.
As you do, yeah, and they are beautiful. I believe I've already been told off Mike that they're not quite correct, but they look like a mosquito to me, to be honest with you. So,
what area are they inaccurate in?
I think he was saying that scuttlebutt is that the fuselage is a little too wide past at the back from the cockpit back, but whether that's correct or not, I don't know.
Interesting.
But they look good to me. They look very good on the sprues. They look really nice.
Will they ever be clipped off the sprues and built?
You know me.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said, are you going to actually ever build them?
I just like to look at them and mess about with them now and again. And I go, oh yeah, I'm going to do that. I'll start that now, clear the bench, and then don't.
Squirrel.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yep.
Yeah. But that's
fair enough.
That, and I also picked up a 32nd scale, only because it was cheap. to this week. The ICM HS123A Late.
Oh, the Henschel, yes.
The Henschel, yeah. And again, fantastic looking model on the sprues. Looks really nice. It's not one of Wongi's favourites because it's not a massive part count. Yeah, possibly. And it's not big, so it's not going to take up tons of room on the bench. That's been my purchases for this week.
Okie dokie. I ended up going down a complete rabbit warren with an idea for the Bolton build for next year. I've purchased a Tamiya 132nd F4C Phantom. After speaking to Mr. Spencer Pollard at the IPMS Avon show, we were having a discussion that referenced the best Phantom colour scheme, and he refreshed a memory from the past of the Michigan Air National Guard from the William Tell meet back in the 80s, which it was a nice air defence grey with yellow and black markings. Absolutely beautiful. Then I thought about scale aircraft modelling, did the decal sheet back in 72nd scale. The first sheet I think they did was for the William Tell meet, or was it the Sea Harrier came first? Anyway, irrespective, it was a free sheet, and I never got a chance to actually build one of the William Tell machines. I found a set of decals in the States, and then ended up buying resin-printed ejection seats and interiors, the Quinta cockpit panels, seamless intakes and exhausts, and the canopy frames from the Far East. And it's just, I've spent more on the aftermarket than I actually spent on the kit by 3 or 4 times over. But it's big enough, especially with the cockpit open, you're going to see all the details in the cockpit. So it's going to make that much of a difference. So I don't mind if you're going to see it, spending the money, but would you spend money on aftermarket that you're never going to see again, or you're the only person who's going to know about?
Yeah, I would agree on the cockpit. Definitely on the cockpit, yeah.
Yes, exactly. This has got some nose art on it as well. So it's going to have the nose art depicted. It was the Phantom Freaks decal sheet, which I got from Sprue Brothers, I think it was. But it's absolutely beautiful. And I was expecting just the national markings and trying to find some decent stencils to go on the thing, because as with the Air National Guard, everything is bulled within an inch of its life and is immaculate. And the sheet came with every stencil, absolutely everything. So, great.
Can I just ask, what was the postage on that? I bet it was more than the sheet, wasn't it?
It was slightly more than the sheet. But there's nobody in Europe that sells it.
No.
There's nowhere over here on this side of the Atlantic you can get the sheet from. I tried the 48th over in Cyprus. I tried everywhere I could think of. Nowhere listed it. I wanted that scheme. The only one option was the States, so unfortunately...
Yeah, if you want it.
Had to bite the bullet. But yes, so for the Bolton show in January 2026, there should be, if all goes to plan, a Tamiya F4C in Michigan Air National Guard markings. So that is not only what's on my workbench, but what I've been buying as well. So I've started, and hopefully I'm going to make some progress on it. And not spend all my time editing podcasts.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Anyway.
You started it.
Yeah, I know. Literally, I started it. Oh dear. Yes, I shall be putting progress pictures up as I get a little bit further down the line, but at the moment it's just a case of getting stuff off the sprue. Surprisingly, it's a 1995 moulding, but a little bit of flash and a few little bits that need a bit of tweaking, but nothing that's insurmountable. Yeah. But it's a nice aircraft, and I've always had a soft spot for the Phantoms. Unlike John, I've actually gone outside of my wheelhouse and actually gone for something completely different. You know, Phantoms, yes, 48th is the scale that I work to. But I've just gone for a few 132nds. Quite well. The other kit that I was going to build for the show in Bolton, I realised I haven't got a cat in hell's chance of actually finishing, which is another Tamiya F16C that I'm converting back into an A model, midlife update.
Can't you just buy an A?
You can't buy an A. There's no decent. This is 32nd again. But it's the F-16C, the Thunderbirds release, which is as rare as Dodo's droppings anyway. So I had to get that from the States. But it's got the correct panel lines, which the current Tamiya F-16 and 32nd, the CJ, doesn't have. So it's either a case of filling and rescribing or going for something that's more authentic, and it's also got the correct intake, which the CJ hasn't. It's got the large intake rather than small.
I must admit, I get a bit overwhelmed with 32nd scale. Advanced modelers syndrome takes over because you can do so much more.
Oh, God, yes.
And before you know it, I'm thinking, I need to stop this. Where does it start? Where do I end? Because I'm not getting, my favourite part is the painting and the finishing and the weathering on, but I just get completely engrossed in trying. The last 30-second scale I started was the Hong Kong models Meteor. Was that an F4? Can't remember now.
F4, yes.
Yep. And I did the cockpit, got it all lovely, but I was struggling finding images of the time. So as I was looking for a cockpit that was quite like recent, newish in colour, but forget it, absolutely no chance.
That's the challenge.
Yeah.
Trying to find a colour photograph from that era, you're really pushing against it. But I've got the manuals for the F4. I've got everything. Literally, I could build an F4 from with the stuff that I've got in the stash, which is really sad and a complete rabbit warren. But going back to the F-16, the reason that I've actually put a hold on it is, A, there's so much conversion work to actually put it back into an A. Although I've got the stuff from 3D Shoot Expert out in the Far East, which he does the correct fin, he does the correct landing gear, because the A has the light gear compared to the C, which has the heavy gear. Two completely different sets of undercarriage on the F-16. The undercarriage doors are different.
Wow, only real aficionados are going to spot that, surely to God.
Yeah, it's a real noticeable piece. But the F-16 colour scheme is the 8-colour silver and red Danish Air Force 50th anniversary. So it's a real absolute nightmare for masking, etc. But the Cyhart decals come with the masks for 32nd scale. So there's some decals, but there's all the masks there, and it comes with the paint.
Comes with the paint?
And also comes with the paint. It's a French manufacturer, but they look reasonable, but no one's actually complained about them yet. But there's also some 3D printed parts as well for the leading edge of the wing for the F-16, which only the Danes had. So that's in the kit as well. So he's really gone to town on it. It's a fantastic job he's done. But hopefully we can actually collar him at Telford, of which the tickets are now on sale. There's an advert for Mark for his section. He'll be pleased to hear. He's coming to Telford again this year, so I'm going to try and grab him and have a chat with him for the pod. And with that, we shall move on to Dan. What have you got on the bench? Obviously not since the last time you spoke, because this is the first time.
I have the armour modeler has a Revell B-17 Flying Fortress on the bench.
Hang on a second.
How
does that work?
Living in this region, we are surrounded. You can point in any direction and hit a Mighty 8 bomber base and fighter base, to be honest with you.
Did you watch it?
What, the Masters of the Air series? Yeah, I did. Yeah, it is what it was. I quite enjoyed it. It's not Band of Brothers, and everybody needs to stop thinking that it's Band of Brothers. But yeah, I did enjoy it, considering they filmed it during COVID and I believe the writers' strike, which is why it was 9 episodes instead of 10. I think they did a very good job of it, to be honest with you.
And to be really accurate for the 8th Air Force, it was filmed at XRAF Abingdon in Oxfordshire, nowhere near an 8th Air Force base.
No, I think they would have liked to filmed it at Thorpe Abbott's, but when we visited the museum over there, the chap said, he said, as you probably realise when you come in, a lot of the lanes and roads are very narrow, he said, and to do a film production, you need a hell of a lot of HGV lorries and all the rest of it, he said, and it just would have caused absolute chaos trying to get it all here. Plus, it's part of it is still obviously private farmland as well. Excuse me, Mr. Farmer, do you mind if we have your farm for a couple of years? It doesn't really work, does it? But, so yeah, I've got the B-17G. It's going to be done as Little Miss Mischief. It's a 10, I think it's 2010. It's just on that point where Revell, like the instructions are not great. The plastic's okay, slightly flashy in places. There's probably too many parts really for my liking, but it's going together fine. I'm doing a natural, again, the armour modeler, I'm doing a natural metal finish on it. I've done riveting for the first time, and it's a bit of an experiment. Try it and have a go and see how you get on, and hopefully have something that looks nice in the cabinet. And my wheelie thing is, obviously I'm a Land Rover nut, owning a Land Rover, and I love the brand and all the rest of it. I'm doing another Revell, the 124th station wagon that they did, but I'm going to do it as a Camel Trophy truck.
Okay. What, the Paris Dakar?
No, the Camel Trophy was an event it was sponsored obviously by the Camel cigarette brand, and it was an expedition. It started in the Amazon, basically a 1,000-mile expedition. Its heyday was in the 80s and 90s. A British team did win one of the Amazon legs. It is an incredibly grueling event, to be honest with you. It's not a race. It's a point A to point B. The teams have to help each other out. And when they reach the certain points, they have to do a challenge. It might be to get over, a river or something like that. And they're only allowed to use the stuff that they've got on the trucks and around them. So it will be muddy. It will be incredibly muddy and filthy, because looking at the reference photos of them online, the Land Rovers really did take an absolute pounding. Some of them rolled.
Are you going to do that on a day-o?
That's the idea, yeah. The one I'm doing was the Zaire expedition in 1983. And the reason why I'm able to do it is because that Revel kit is a Series 3, and they are the Land Rovers that they only use the Series 3 for that year. So I was like, great. And the other thing I found, obviously there's no decals, but I found a sticker sheet. I believe these are for RC Kart, and they're not too thick. So I'm hoping that when they're on, I can just obviously give it a few coats of satin or whatnot, and hopefully it won't look too thick while I'm on it. If any of it is too thick, then I'll just throw a load of mud at it.
I'm pretty sure there is a company in Italy that does the decals for it.
Okay.
One of my other passions is Formula One. I have a large collection of die casts from most of the teams going back to the 1990s to reasonably the present day. But
yeah,
because of cigarette advertising laws, etc., the models are not allowed to be sold with branding on.
No.
And there's a company in Italy that does all of the branding for that sort of thing. And I'm sure when I've been scrolling through looking for F1, I've seen those decals for Camel.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, because Camel did sponsor one of the Formula One teams. Was it Jordan?
Benetton,
that was it. Yeah. Awesome. What was Jordan? Was that Benson and Hedges or something?
Benson Hedges, yes.
And then it changed to Buzzing Hornets.
Didn't Camel also do Williams for a while? That was Mansell's time, wasn't it? And Prost. We digress.
And purchase-wise, I bought this gorgeous little Tamiya M5A1 Stuart in 148. I absolutely adore these black box Tamiya kits. They are just perfect. So that is going to be built at some point. And
is that going to be a British one?
No, that's the American one. This one's got the name.
Is that American only, or did we not have that one? I thought we had one. Oh, you're doing it out of the box?
Yeah, I'll do that one straight out of the box. Yeah, it's actually quite a small tank. Yeah, I'll do that.
So, Nevs, what have you got on the bench at the moment?
Well, Brown, I feel like these episodes are becoming Groundhog Day for my bench because I'm still working on the same two things, the Kinnegasser and the Spitfire. Not much has happened since the last episode, although with the Kinnegasser, I literally just have 3 tiny parts left to put on, and that is the 1/700 scale propeller that I've had to make myself. And it's literally just the blades of the propellers. I've done 3. There's 1 left to go. The Spitfire, I've done the base coats, but it's ground to a halt since, so it's grounded. But as soon as this Kinnegasser is done, that'll be the next priority to finish.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so as soon as the ship's finished, get some pictures up on the socials. And obviously the primer, I'm guessing, is on the Spit, is it?
The primer was on the Spit in the last episode, but I've got the actual base colours on as well.
Ah, okay. Looking better.
I've done the wheels. It's just the tidy up underneath. Done the cannons. I've done the red around the gun ports.
Yes.
Which is quite good. But it needs second coats now. It's had the second coat on the underside, but it's not had the second coat on the top.
Good little trick for the red is to paint some Rizla cigarette paper and actually stick those over the port, because they were actually fabric patches to stop flies going in before when they actually got airborne.
The holes on this particular kit for where the guns are so pronounced that the base, it's basically like they've been shredded to bits now already.
Oh, right.
Yes, this is obviously a well used Spit. Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, and what have you been spending your money on?
So today I've been in York visiting my favourite model shop there, Monk Bar Models. So picked up the Reeboks of the Airfix Royal Aircraft Factory. I think it's the RE2 or RE8 whichever one was the first aircraft to down a Zeppelin anyway.
Okay.
So I've picked one of those up, a little bit outside of my usual, which is good. And then I've gone into armour. I've got an armour kit as well, which is very
Oh, steady. We've already got an expert on armour now.
I know.
Don't start building your part up.
I know. So I've picked up, it's an Asian manufacturer. I've never heard of them. And they've come out with a 72nd M19, which is an anti-aircraft platform from sort of 1944-45 US Army.
So what's the manufacturer?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot now, Brownie.
Of course. I knew you strode away from it. That's why I asked you.
This might be revenge for when he laughed at me trying to say that German tank destroyer.
It is. It's they're called 4-Art.
Okay.
Oh, 4-Art do the HMS Sheffield and HMS Coventry.
They're not tank shaped though, are they?
No, the ships. The floating targets.
The news.
Oh, dear. It's going to be one of those episodes, and I can see that already. I must admit, the model shop you're talking about in York is quite a nice little shop. Split level with the rail up on the upper floor and the kits downstairs.
It was very busy today. They had to prop the door open, and the thing I always find about that shop is they'll have one kit of the most unusual subject you expect them to have in whatever, and it will always be something that you're at least vaguely interested in.
There's another very good model shop near there that I didn't think was actually going to be anything like as good as it actually was, and that's a South Yorkshire Air Museum.
Oh wow! Okay.
The kits they've got in there, armour as well as aircraft, and some very obscure manufacturers. It's a fantastic little shop. Really is. But
definitely worth visiting.
There is another model shop in York.
Where's that?
Yeah.
He mainly sells the big, I think it's G gauge trains, but he has a massive amount of plastic in there.
Okay.
To one side, it's all the way down. I'm just trying to think. To be honest, when you look outside, it looks very old and dated because it's got the metal shutters on and everything else on it. But when you go in, it's just rammed.
I think you're thinking of P&J models or P&J hobbies.
Yeah, I think it is.
On Fossgate, so it's literally on the bridge into York, on the complete other opposite side to Monk Bar. Yeah, I've been in there a few times. But like you say, it's set up very differently to what Monk Bar Models is.
Cool. Okay, Boulders, what have you got on the shelf? Or more to the point, what are you actually working on?
On the shelf.
Well, you got so much stuff on the shelf that you start and never finish.
Shelf queens. Yeah, absolutely, definitely shelf queens. I am currently working on the Airfix 24 scale Spitfire Mark 9.
Where did that come from? You're starting a Hurricane on the last episode.
The Hurricane's been shelled. I'm not happy with the paint job again,
right.
So it needs to be stripped back. So this is being done as a Mark 9E because I've got a conversion to change the wings. So basically, cut the inserts out, stick the new parts in.
Okay.
I'll have an E-wing being done as Johnny Johnson's D-Day.
Oh, JJ.
JJ. So I'm currently working on the cockpit. Tons of detail to go in the cockpit, absolutely. And it's not an airbrush job neither. It's definitely a hand paint job. So there's a lot of details moulded in, going together rather nicely.
Is that the one with or without a pint glass?
No, so this is the first release of the Mark 9. Yeah, I've got two. One to do a C, one to do an E. And I've got a Mark 8 as well in the stash to do. Yeah, I've got plenty to be getting on with Spitfires, to say the least.
And what have you been spending your cash on then?
A holiday.
Right.
Something completely different. No, I'm going to Bulgaria a week on Monday. Get a bit of sun before winter sets in. And before the show for Bolton in January 2026 starts to take a full swing.
And how's the bookings for that going with the traders?
Yeah, it's going all right. I will need more traders. So obviously I will be grabbing quite a few at Telford and asked them if they want to come and join us at the best one-day show in the UK.
Fantastic.
Visit scalemodelpodcast.com, your hub for the best scale modelling pods, because finding great content shouldn't take longer than hunting for lost photo etch.
Welcome to another Rivet Counters Minute, brought to you by Matters of Scale. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the Seppercat Jaguar. This twin-engine ground attack aircraft features intakes that are crucial for providing airflow to its Rolls-Royce Turbomeca Ador engines. The intakes have spring-loaded auxiliary doors that remain closed during normal flight to reduce drag. When the engines need more air, like during takeoff or low-speed flight, these doors automatically open to ensure optimal engine performance. If you're working on the new 148 Airfix Jaguar kit, you'll love our full-length intakes available in both open and closed configurations. Check them out on our website at www.mattersofscale.com.
It's time for this episode, IPMS UK Dispatches. All the Society's news and modelling show details, one dodgy phonetic letter at a time, with Mark Sanderson.
This month is very busy, actually. There's a lot of overlap, so I think you could probably make a full-time job or weekend job of going to a lot of shows. We kick off on Sunday, the 31st of August, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's the Stoke-on-Trent model show, which is at the Priestwood Centre, which is Staffordshire County Ground, Western Road, and the postcode is Sierra Tango, and we'll leave it there on my phonetic alphabet there, and the admission for that is only £5. After that, we move on to the next weekend, which is on Saturday. We've got the Model Fest 2025, organised by IPMS Farnborough, which is my own club, which is being held at the Hart Leisure Centre, Emerald Avenue, Fleet. Postcode for that one is Golf Uniform 51 5 Hotel Sierra. Admission is £5, with under 16s admitted for free with a full paying adult. Lots of club displays and various traders, on-site refreshments, and loads of free parking. And there's another event on that day as well. So we've got the...
How dare they?
I know, it's terrible. This is the first day of the Medway Model Show, organised by the Medway Model Club. This is at the Royal Engineers Museum, Prince Arthur Road, Gillingham. Postcode for that one is Mike Echo 7 4 Alpha Gamma. Adults £17.50, seniors and students are 15, children 5 to 18 years of age are 18, and children under 5 go free. Ticket price does include not only the model show, but also entry to the museum as well, which has got lots and lots of great stuff to look at. And there are the tickets for this are available from www.re-museum.co.uk. There's also some family ticket options as well. So if people have got multiple children coming along with them, there's plenty of options on there. They're going to have various club stands, traders, a make and take session, and a competition that's being held on the Sunday the 7th, because this is a 2-day show. And that is on both that and the IPMS Model Fest 2025 are 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And on the Sunday is obviously the second day of the Medway show, but also IPMS Chiltern Scale Model Show, which is 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's at the Weatherly Centre, Eagle Farm Road, Biggleswade. Postcode for that one is Sierra Golf 188 Juliet. There you go, thanks. And Hotel, 8 Juliet Hotel. They've got 4 rooms of models, 2 competitions, which is basically the best model on show. So if you have your model on a table, it was automatically in the competition. And they also have a best club stand. I haven't got any info on the admission price, but there is lots of free parking.
Just for my air traffic colleagues who are listening into this, please note I do not have any comment to make whatsoever about the phonetic alphabet that's being used in this episode.
Brown, it might be worth sending Mark a list of all the phonetic alphabets so he can have it in front of him.
I'm just getting creative with it. I'm just going to come up with my own phonetic alphabet for the next time.
I've already done it.
We have done. Yes. So we move on to Saturday and Sunday, the 13th and 14th of September. Again, there are both 2-day shows on this weekend, so spoil for choice. The first one is Isle of Wight Model Fest, and this has 2 locations, and you can with a free vintage bus transfer service between both sites. So the main location is the Wight Aviation Museum, Sandown Airport. Postcode is Papa Oscar 360 Juliet Papa. And then the other 2-day show, something a little bit left field, this one. This is the Statfold Barn Railway Road and Rail event, which is also 10 a.m. to 4 p.m, like the Isle of Wight show. This is the Sutton Coldfield Model Makers Society are joining the Stratford Barn Railways Road and Rail event. There are lots of family fun, including narrow gauge train rides, classic car displays, and steam traction engines. This one, all the details, I'm not sure on the admission price, but the address details are the Stratford Barn Railway, Ashby Road, Tamworth. Postcode is B for Bertie, 790, B for Bertie again, umbrella. And then last but not least is the tickets for Scale Model World 25, which is being held in November, are available to purchase now from the Telford International Centre's website, which is www.tictelford.com, with a day ticket costing just £25. And if memory serves me correctly, that is exactly the same price as last year. So there's been no price increase this time.
Fantastic. Okay, I do have one event to actually publicise as well, which is the Southern Maryland Scale Modelers PAXCon 25, which is being held at the Hollywood Volunteer Fire Department, which is on 24801 Three Notch Road, Hollywood, MD 20636. So that's a nice short one for anyone in the UK, but for our American listeners, fantastic. And that's the local show for the Model Geeks podcast, our colleagues over on the far side of the pond. Okay, anything else from you, Mark? So, Mark, one thing we haven't done since you've actually started recording these sections for the pod is talk about what...
Yes, I've actually got at the moment a Tamiya 1/24th scale Nissan GTR Skyline from the Japanese GT series in the lovely blue calsonic design. And the end result will be, because I don't like putting just anything on a tank on a plank type thing, I like putting it in a little diorama. It's going to be in a slightly little diorama that has a nod to the Gran Turismo of the PlayStation game, which I've lost a lot of hours playing in my youth.
You and me both.
And me.
Yeah. And I might even fire up my 3D printer for possibly the figure, because I want to put a figure on it, or maybe some other kind of accoutrements to accessorize it.
Funny you should say you're building a 1/24th car, because since the last episode, I, on the 15th of August, along with Whitey from the Model Geeks, went online at 10 p.m. our time, and it was 5 p.m. his time, and we opened our entry, or the box, for the Mooseroo Cup, which is, for those that don't know, every modelling podcast gets sent a box by IPMS Hamilton in Ontario, and every year we are basically given a challenge. And if we actually now run the audio from the recording, you will find out what it was. It's 10 p.m. British Summer Time on the 15th of August. It is 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am joined by Whitey from the Model Geeks. And for the Model Geeks who are listening to this is Brownie from Behind the Box Art. And we are jointly going to open our Mooseroo boxes and see what joys we've got to look forward to for the Mooseroo Cup. And obviously for us, it's our first time participating, so massive thanks to IPMS Hamilton for including us. It's an honour to be invited to participate in this fantastic competition, which hasn't been won by the Canadians or the Australians. The competition is named after for some considerable time, I believe. Anyway, more chance for us, Whitey. Let's get the knives and give this a go. I'm just going to give this a slice with the old knife, and Whitey's doing exactly the same. Let's...
1,700 on my side, so we're going to go ahead and open these up.
Yep, so let's just see what we can actually get here. Now, I was saying to you before we started recording, I reckon it's either rotary or a vehicle of some sort. Then again, we did a truck, or you guys did a truck a couple of years ago.
And, oh, here we go. What we got here? Fast and the Furious, Musaru Drift. Oh, here, yes. Right. The Musaru Cup is shifting into high gear. Build parameters: paint, finish, weathering, composition. Submissions by March the 14th, 2026 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, whatever that is. Right. We have got... Okay. Letter in the box. Hello, podcasters. RE Musaru Cup 7. Okay, the letter reads, Hello, podcasters. Musaru Cup 7. Channel your inner Van Diesel and get your airbrush dialed in. This year, the Musaru is shifting into high gear. The theme of this year's build is the Fast and the Furious Musaru Drift. You guessed it, street racers. Each podcast has been provided with a unique Aoshima boxing of a Japanese street racer in 1/24th scale. Here are some guidelines to help you along your way. Start date. Building can commence on or after August the 15th, 2025, but not before. Well, as we couldn't open it until 10 p.m. our time, 5 p.m. your time, so, yeah, okay. Canadian logic, must be. End date. Entries are due by Saturday, March 14th, 2026 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Build parameters. This year we're looking for your best representation of an early 2000s street racer. Think Fast and the Furious or Need for Speed. Wasn't that a bus?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. Or an ocean liner. Get your inner Sandra Bullock on. A bold paint finish, flames or graphics, the liberal use of carbon fibre, boilers, as in aerofoils rather than teasers, undercar lighting and fancy rims are all fair game. You may upgrade, detail or modify the base kit as much as you like. However, the original kit subject should still be identifiable in your final presentation. Judging criteria. Your entry will be judged on a combination of factors including build, execution, paint, finish, weathering, as well as composition and detail. Hang on a second, weathering. Weren't these actually sort of bulled up within an inch of their life and really polished and the prize of everyone's joy?
Again, street racing, these guys aren't professionals. They gotta take some dings, get some rubbing, get some tire marks on them maybe.
Okay, well, it's good to see the steering wheels on the correct side of the vehicle and on the box art that I'm looking at.
Same here, yeah.
Is it on the wrong side for you?
Well, it's on the right side for you.
Correct. Yes, good old Japanese. Judges, completed entries will be judged by a volunteer group of judges from the members of IPMS Hamilton. Entry format: submit a minimum of 6 up to a maximum of 10 high-quality unedited digital images. Entries are submitted by email. Winning entry will be announced on March 29th, 2026 at HeritageCon 18. The crew of IPMS Hamilton look forward to tracking the progress of your builds over the coming months, and we hope to have some fun along the way too. We would like to extend an invitation to each podcast and your listeners around the world to join us at HeritageCon 18 on March 29th, 2026 at the Canadian Warplane Heritage Museum at Mount Hope, Hamilton, Ontario. And having been there and had a look at the Lank and the exhibits, it's a fantastic museum. Really like the T-33 that when I visited, they actually had the hydraulics, etc. working, so you could see basically a working aircraft rather than a static. Hopefully I'm going to get a few points for that one. And we get to the kits. I have got in my hands an Aoshima ZN6 Toyota 86 with some interesting box art, and it's obviously all beyond the box art. See what I did there? And inside the box I have got what's very reminiscent of a very large-scale Matchbox kit. Lots of different coloured plastic, rubber tyres, spelt with a Y, not an I, spelt the correct way. Can you get resin accessories for these? This is completely outside of my... Okay, are we still recording? Still recording. I've lost Whitey on the feed. I can hear the audio. You're back.
Okay.
Okay, you're frozen, but
I was just saying, can you get resin accessories for replacement of rubber tires for 120 whatever cars?
I would imagine there's resin aftermarket for them. Sure.
Okay. I must admit that I'm looking at the resin and I'm thinking a cross between Bandai and Tamiya.
Yeah.
In the quality. It's really crisp, but I'm also seeing a lot of chrome. So I think... Is it bleach we soak chrome in to get rid of the chrome?
Yeah, yep. I don't have too much chrome in the vehicle I have. I have a, it's all in Japanese. I'm not sure what this type of vehicle is. An A6, so.
Interesting. Okay, well, mine definitely has got the name Toyota written on the front, so there's my box art. Paint's on the side. But yes, everything's in Japanese. So Google's going to be coming out with giving me some translations on that one because I do not have a clue. But I must admit, even there's only one set of decals in the box. So what's your initial thoughts then?
I'm ready to roll. I'm getting started on mine this weekend.
Okay.
Probably not. Oh, bro. I have something I might want to get done before our PAX-Con show in October, and then maybe get on this, or I'll see. That's
It's going to be interesting, whatever happens. But
it looks like a nice kit, though.
Well, it's certainly crisp mouldings. I'll say that much. And all I can think of is Julian from OTB just laughing his socks off, thinking that Dave's got to do a car because that was going to be his worst nightmare. I remember listening to the last show saying that. And, well, Dave, yep, we're all in the same boat. Oh, dear. Well, Whitey, it's been a pleasure. We'll have to actually have a more serious chat about our normal modelling subjects in the future. But for now, I shall hit end on the recording. And I will also send this across to you so you can put it out as well.
Great, thank you. All right.
You're very welcome, my friend. And to our other competitors, good luck. And it'll either be Anne, Whitey, or myself that's going to win anyway, so hey. The gauntlet is thrown. Sorry, the driving gloves have been thrown down.
Defending the cup over here.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that. Okay. Cheers for now, buddy.
Good night.
Rev it up, here we go on the open road. The Mosaru Cup 7 where the legends erode. IPM's Hamilton, the heat is on. Gathering makers competing till dawn. Models in the spotlight shining so bright. Truck is in the rear view, ready for the fight. Beyond the box art, they're leading the pack. Rolling through the curves, we ain't looking back. Drifting into the night, where the colors ignite. Sky modeling dreams, painting passion inside. Engines roaring loud as the crowd comes alive at the Mosaru Cup. Watch the spirit thrive. Stories told in plastic, creativity unleashed. Each competitor's spirit, a masterpiece released. Regular updates streaming on our bi-weekly flow. But hold on tight, there's more to show. Heritage Con 18 is the final reveal. March 26, that's the deal. At the Canadian warplane where history soars. Battles of the bravest, opening the doors. Drifting into the night, where the colors ignite. School modeling reaching so high, creating our worlds, reaching for the sky. From car built to planes, each detail refined. In this community, we're forever aligned, cheering for each other as we craft and create. Together we stand, never hesitate. So here's to Mosaru, the thrill of the chase. In this rock and drift, we find our place, drifting into the night, where the colors ignite. Sky modeling dreams, painting passion inside. Engines roaring loud as the crowd comes alive at the Mosaru Cup. Watch the spirits, so mark down the date. Let the world know why we gather as one under the vast open sky. Mosaru Cup 7, let the fun commence in the heart of Ontario. Every model makes sense. With beyond the box art, we're ready to soar, drifting into the night. Who could ask for more?
Brace yourselves. It's the Stash Inflation Report, the segment where wallets weep, self-control collapses, and new releases thunder in like a tsunami of temptation.
It seems to be a bit quiet on the aircraft front this month. There are a few kits that have come out from Mark 1 models, all in 144th scale. We've got a Messerschmitt Bf-109 G6 Eastern Front, a Bf-109 G6 Reich Defence, a Bf-109 G6 Fighter Aces, a Bf-109 G10 Lake Gustav, a Bf-109 G10 Avia/Avia C10 Vigorous Fighter, and a Messerschmitt Bf-109 K4 Kurfürst. Now, these kits have 2 kits in the box. The new mould, and they have got a 3D design canopy which has come from a metal mould. They have also releasing 3 Harriers, all T-Bird variants. So the first one is a T2/TAV-A8/TAV-8S Dolphin. This is only one model included in the box. We've also got the T4/4A at home and on the continent. And lastly, for Mark 1 models, we've got the BAE Harrier T4N/T8/T60 Naval Service. And that is all that is coming out at the moment regarding model kits. There are a few decal sets that have been announced. 2 have come from Extra Decal. One is the 32nd scale Hunter FGA9/FR10. That contains 2 schemes. One is FGA9 XE645 of RAF Komatska, Strike Wing Royal Air Force based at RAF Komatska, Yemen in 1967. And then the last one is the Hawker Hunter FR10 XF457 of number 2 AC Squadron, and that was based at Royal Air Force Jever in Germany in 1970. The next set is coming out for the Hunter T7, which is the upcoming Revell 32nd kit. So the scheme for that is the T7 XL620 of 74 Squadron, based at RAF Accrington in September 61. Hawker Hunter T7 XL573 of 237 Operational Conversion Unit, based at RAF Honington in 87. And then the last one is the Hunter T7 XL621 of 4 FTS, which is the Flying Training School at Royal Air Force Valet in 1973. Furball Decals are bringing out 3 new sets. One's called the Boca Chica Bandits. This features the colourful adversary aircraft of VF-45 and Naval Air Station Key West. This set has 20 options in total and allows the modeller to build 7 A4Es, 5 TA4Js, 2 F5Es, 1 F5F, 2 F18As, 2 F-16Ns and 1 TF-16N, all in 48 scale. The next set is Colours and Markings of the US Navy Tomcats, Part 13. Continues with the collaboration with the friends from Detail and Scale. This set has options for 14 F-14A, B and D test and evaluation Tomcats. And then the last one is Colours and Markings of the US Navy Tomcats Part 14. And this covers 13 VF-84 Jolly Rogers schemes for the Tamiya F-14A Tomcat. And that's all from me. So I'm now going to pass over to Dan for the first time on announcing the AFV releases.
We have got from Gecko. Gecko are back at it with a proper workhorse of the British Army, a 1/35th scale Bedford OXD GS truck, 30 hundredweight 4x2 with a wooden cargo body. It's the kind of truck that carried everything from crates of ammo to the odd bag of potatoes across Europe with Gecko's trademark crisp detail. This is going to be a beauty for anyone wanting to add a bit of logistical backbone to their dioramas. Next, a resin gem from Inside the Armour 3, the Atlas crane conversion for the Alvis Stalwart. Kit number ITA335097, designed for the FX kit. If the Stolly wasn't quirky enough already, slap a crane on top and you've got yourself a piece of Cold War engineering eccentricity that screams because we can. Over at Mini Art, and you'll want to sit down for this one, we've got the German tractor with flak drilling MG 151/20. That's right, a humble Lands Bulldog tractor showing a Sonderen Hanger Ost trailer bristling with a triple 20 MG 151/20 mount. It's one of those only in World War II combinations, a farm tractor pulling enough firepower to give a Stuka a headache. Comes with optional markings and all the delicious Mini Art fine detail. Perfect for a diorama that says rural but dangerous. And finally, a new player to tempt us, Black Snake model with their US Marine Corps Operation Iraqi Freedom figure series. Well, these are 1/35th scale Marines from the early stages of the Iraq War. Ultra detailed sculpts, full combat gear, authentic weapons, dynamic poses, and all produced with 16K 3D printing. Yes, you heard that right, 16K. That's more detail than most of us can actually see without 3 pairs of glasses stacked together. If you want modern figures that capture the grit and intensity of Operation Iraqi Freedom, these are going to be hard to beat. And here's Nevs with all the nautical releases.
Cholima Models, I've never heard of these, but Cholima Models, they've announced a 700 scale Cho Hyun class destroyer for the Korean People's Navy. It's a resin waterline kit, although the box art does depict a ship in full hull configuration. This is because Cholima have also announced they will be dropping a lower hull separately. To me, I think that's a move that the likes of Flyhawk and Trumpeter would do very well to pay attention to. Wink, wink. All in all, this sounds like a perfect addition for any modeler interested in creating a diorama of the infamous capsizing from May 2025. And if you hadn't received enough KPN goodness already, Snowman Models are also releasing a 1/700 Cho Hyun destroyer. This will be a full hull kit with plenty of 3D printed detail. Tom's Model Works are doing 2 700 scale waterline kits of the US aircraft carriers Yorktown CV5 and Enterprise CV6. These will be resin waterline kits with photo etch details and 3D printed parts. These might torpedo your wallet, but for Second World War carrier enthusiasts, they are certainly ships to consider. V-Hobby have announced an armada of World War II US Navy ships in 700th scale, including the formidable battleship Iowa in a 1944 fit, which will be an adapted rebox of the 2021 Missouri tooling. They will also be releasing 3 iterations of the so far neglected Brooklyn class light. These will include the USS Honolulu CV-48, as well as the USS Helena CL-50, the latter providing an early war fitting and the other two will be a pair of 1944 warship. Regular listeners to the show will already know my opinion of waterline injection moulded kits, so whilst it is great to see a Brooklyn-class cruiser moulded in plastic, it is a shame that we only get to see half of the ship. And last, but certainly not least, Regia Marina enthusiasts will get the joys of 3 new Italian Navy kits, covering the Second World War period in the case of heavy cruiser Trento, as well as the Cold War with the 1958 destroyer Impetuoso and the 1972 destroyer Genieri, a Fletcher-class vessel from World War II. These are 3D printed resin kits, and when ordered from SS Model directly, can be customisable, so they can come as a waterline kit or as full hull, and in scales ranging from 1 to 100th to 1 to 3000.
Right then, to finish off this episode's stash inflation, we have been sent a copy of a new book from Ammo by Mig Jiménez. The latest offering is all about Zimmerit. What, I hear you non-AFV modelers cry, is Zimmerit? Well, it's probably the main reason a lot of German World War II armour has either not been completed and is helping to expand the OTSOD, or on the shelf of doom. So let's talk about Zimmerit. No, not the stuff you smear on your toast in the morning, but that curious corrugated anti-magnetic paste that Germans slapped on their tanks during the latter half of World War II. And thanks to the team at Ammo, we've now got an entire book dedicated to it. Zimmerit is one of those topics that sends modelers into 2 camps. Those who love to replicate it, and those who'd rather gnaw their own way through sprue gates than try. Ammo's new book takes a subject that's often surrounded by confusion, dodgy myths and endless arguments in forum threads, and finally gives it the clear, visual reference it deserves. The book is presented in Ammo's usual glossy, high-quality style with 208 pages packed with period photos, technical diagrams, and most importantly, step-by-step modelling guides. It covers not just the history of Zimmerit, when, where, and why it was applied, but also practical how-tos for the bench. Whether you're working in 1/72nd, 1/35th, 1/48th, or something more ambitious, the techniques are broken down in a way that's both accessible and repeatable. You'll find close-ups of the real thing, so you can see exactly how the ridges, patterns, and even battle damage looked in service. There are guides for using the Ammo putty and the Photo Etch Zimmerit tool. Also how to paint and weather this finish. The author doesn't just tell you how to use, he shows you how to make the many textured patterns, yes there was more than one, and avoid the dreaded brick wall effect. There's also a useful section comparing different factory patterns for Panther, Tiger, Stug, all the greatest hits and how to replicate each correctly. Now, is it perfect? Without question, yes. Some modelers might wish for even more deep dive history or a broader comparison of aftermarket options beyond Ammo's range, but honestly, this strikes a good balance between reference and hands-on guide. It's not a PhD thesis, it's a tool to help you get your Tiger look like it's wearing Zimmerit, not a dodgy bath mat. So, final verdict. If you've ever shied away from building that mid-war Panther because you didn't fancy wrestling with the Zimmerit, this book might just change your mind. Clear, practical, and inspiring. Exactly what we want from modelling reference. Ammo have once again taken something potentially intimidating and made it accessible. Highly recommended, whether you're a rivet counter or just someone who likes their AFVs with a bit of extra texture. Zimmerit might have been designed to stop sticky bombs, but thanks to this book, it might just stop your latest Tiger from ending up on the shelf of doom. As we said earlier, our special guest this episode does not need an introduction, but we're going to give him one anyway. Because, let's face it, he's probably painting in 7 different shades of rust already. He's the man who made grime glamorous, turned mud into a modelling essential, and somehow made every modeller on the planet feel like their tank wasn't finished until it had looked like it survived 2 world wars, a minor skirmish, and a standstill. For his early days weathering plastic kits in Spain to building an empire with ammo, this modelling maestro has not only shaped the way we paint, but also how we think about painting. If you've ever used a wash, a streaking effect, or muttered, "I'll dry brush this bit," chances are you're following in his muddy footprints. A teacher, an innovator, and probably the only man to have pigment in his blood. Literally, we're still waiting on the medical results. Please welcome the godfather of weathering, the sultan of streaking, the Picasso of pigments, Mig Jiménez. So let's jump straight in with our first question and find out what inspired you to take the leap from being a passionate modeler to launching Ammo as a full-scale business.
Well, in fact, that was a kind of progression. It's not that one day you wake up in the morning and you decide, okay, I want to be professional of this, no? It's something that at the beginning, you are just a modeler like any of you, any person that can stay here right now listening this podcast. But sometimes the life drives you in some directions that you cannot understand until you figure out that you can be professional, or you are already professional, no? Almost without wanting.
Ammo has become a household name in the modelling world. What was your original vision for the company, and how close is the reality today?
Well, for me, the most important always was to teach to people. That was the main purpose in my life, always. And I never wanted to make products. But one day you discover that the products can help to the modelers to achieve their goals. So finally, you combine the didactic aspect with the products, no? Because both must be together, no? Obviously, it's more easy to teach someone to do something with a more specialized tool or paint. So this is why everything is going together. And that was my vision for all my companies, no? First priority, always to teach. And second are the products. The products must help for teaching people.
Okay. You've worked with several brands over the years. How did your past experiences shape you and help you run Ammo today?
Well, in fact, it's not that I work for several companies. In fact, I create several companies since 2001 when I started my first one. Unfortunately, for different reasons, I lose them. It's not that those experiences helped me to create AMO, but AMO is the final evolution of my previous companies.
Gotcha.
For me, it's not like something that started and stopped, but it's a completely evolution since 2001 when I started creating my first company. So I cannot see difference. In fact, here at AMO, we say that we have 24 years of experience in the business, while AMO started 13 years ago only, no? But my experience is from 2001.
Gotcha. Okay. So how much input do you personally have on each of the products and projects that Ammo produces? Or do you let your team pick and choose what modelers want?
Right now, we are 38 people at AMO, 38 persons working here. Unfortunately, we have a huge product department, and obviously those people are helping me to create ideas, to think about new concepts, products, because we not only make just paints. Sometimes we produce specific tool, or sometimes we make a plastic kit in collaboration with another brand. So it's not only me, no? We have experts for planes, for publications, for many things. And they have learned during years working with me what we can do and what not. Obviously, there are always subjects that sell better than others, and for everybody it's easy to understand that, no? But the problem is when you have a vision or an idea that nobody can see, no? Like when I started, for example, with the pigments, no? In that time, that was like a crazy idea, and probably nobody will bet for that, no? Nobody will think that that's popular. Or, for example, the oil brassers was something that was originally from the normal oils, and the normal oils was not selling well in the market in my previous company. But when we decide to change and to convert the concept of the oils in the oil brasser, that become our bestseller in the company. So not always the people working for me have that vision. And in that moment, I decide, okay, let's do that, even if you don't like it, or let's do this, even if you don't trust on it. But most of the times, we have a weekly meeting or production area where each one propose ideas for the future, and we are talking about them to see if those could be interesting or not for the market. No, but it's a teamwork actually.
Okay.
Most of the time.
The latest product that I've got from yourself is the lock and load, which is fantastic for doing cockpits of aircraft, especially using the white and the lighter color. But are you looking to expand the range of colors available?
Yes. This is like another example, like the oil brassers, no? Originally, the people are using color pens, but we always want to go beyond, farthest, no? With the ideas. We want to improve. We want to make it easier. And we thought, okay, we need a much better quality of color, no? The color component. But we needed something with super extra quality, not the typical color pencils. So this is why we found the right one, the good one that works very well. And we developed the idea to create the lock and load system, no? That is easier to change, occupy less space also, and the quality is superior to any other pencil in the market. What is the problem? That when we launched it, we wasn't expected a big success, and we sold out everything so quick. So now, before we start making more colors and more variety, we prefer to administrate, to cover the basic initial colors that everybody needed, more than just start expanding the colors right now, no? Because for us it's more important something basic, but well supplied, than to have a huge range and few quantity of them. So, but yes, of course, we have already made a selection for the future with many interesting colors that I like it, but we must wait for the future.
Okay.
But we will do it, of course.
Fantastic.
Hola, Mig, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien, gracias.
Mig, the Atom range is a fantastic series of paints for those that cannot use lacquers for varying reasons like smell or health problems. Is there a plan to phase out the current standard acrylic color range and maybe incorporate the colors, especially aircraft colors, into the Atom range? And if so, what would the timescale be on something like that?
This is something complicated to explain, and not very often the final consumer, the final modeler, understand those concepts, no? Because many times the modelers just want to paint this plane and you want this color for the camouflage. That's all. I don't want to hear about producer or problems. So it's normal and it's good because the modeler is who decide everything. But what is our problem? We are not a small producer. We are not a little place that we produce small quantities for closer shops, no? In that case, probably you can create all colors that you want and that's all. But our way of business is worldwide distribution. We sell to around the world in large quantities to big distributors, and we cannot do what we want, like modelers. So if you decide to make another 70 new colors specifically for planes, for this camo, because you know, the guys who make planes, me included, when I make a plane, I saw you right now my Hurricane in the Navy, because I love to make planes, no? And when I do that, I don't want to hear anything. Just give me the color that I need for that, because I don't want to even think about what I need. Because usually I make tanks. I know everything about tanks, but not about planes. So just give me the color. And under the consumer or modeler point of view, this is logic. I want this color, please give me that color. But when you start talking with big distributors that sell incredible big quantities of paints and tools and everything in their countries, you cannot go to them and tell them, okay, now I want to make another 70 new reference for planes. And the first question is, I will sell those colors like the others. And obviously, if you are looking for a very specific color from the First World War or something like that, probably you will sell much less than, for example, colors for Luftwaffe or for RAF. Obviously, you cannot do what you want, or distributors and shops, especially shops, will be disappointed, because another problem that the shop have is the problem of the space. And they always complain when you expand the color range. I haven't enough space in my shop. My shop is small. So they prefer a limited rack of paints and just let to the people mix the colors, or that for me, I think that is important, let other smaller companies to produce alternative colors for more specific subjects.
Yeah.
For example, I love all Soviet camouflage from Cold War and others, no?
Yeah.
And those colors are very specific. So sometimes I need to buy from smaller brands, from Western countries, from Czech Republic, if I want something very specific. So expand the colors, yes, I would like. When we remove it, or when we stopped producing the normal acrylic colors, was because we had a huge range of very specific colors for many planes, for many tanks, and sometimes not too popular for all countries.
No.
For example, if you make a Romanian or Bulgarian color, probably you will sell nothing.
You won't sell it.
In USA, in Japan. So this is why we create a 8-tone range of color, more limited and more generic, because the shops needed something like that, more generic.
Yeah.
The shops want something for cars, they want something for tanks, for planes, or for ships. This is why also sometimes some colors are a bit more generic.
Yeah. In that case, what would you say, so given the customer choice between Atom and the acrylics, what are the main differences between Atom and acrylic color?
So easy. I mean, it's the first time that someone asked me something like that. So easy. Atom is like PlayStation. Okay? And the other acrylics is like to program in your computer. What is better? Depending what you want. For example, me, that I am a very fast modeler, I don't want to spend time. I want to go very fast painting. I prefer Atom because it's super fast. Just put, always cover well. It works like lacquer paints, doesn't smell, and self-leveling, fantastic. But if you want another kind of work, more slowly, with more time, with more investigation, more different colors, go for the standard one.
Understood. Absolutely. Mig, do you have any plans for Ammo to produce lacquers, what we would call full fat lacquers, like Mr. Hobby, MRP, or even some of the Tamiya lacquers? Is that something that you would consider doing?
Well, another super important information for all people that can hear that. Actually, and I am sorry to talk about boring things.
No, it's interesting.
This is something that is affecting to everybody in this world. The regulations in European Union mainly, but also it is expanding to other countries. It's almost impossible to produce lacquers and to sell very well because the regulation, for example, right now, only for washes, enamel washes, that is not even lacquer, is necessary. For example, you lucky guys that are in England right now, but for me in Europe, you need to put 18 different languages in the label with all information about security, about healthy problems, about a telephone from the hospital, the closest hospital in each country to call about intoxication. So you have no idea how complicated is getting this one. Also with security cap, we need to change all security caps, modifying the original ones. So if this is only with the enamel colors, try to imagine how will be the end of the lacquer paint sooner or later, especially in Europe. Because the bills that are charging the Brussels to all producers who don't do that can bring you to the ring and destroy your business very fast.
Yeah.
If they catch you with something inappropriate.
I think for us modelers, it's very easy to say, oh, why don't they do that? Why don't this company make that? Why don't this company make that? It's very easy to say it, but actually there's a whole process, like you've just explained, of paperwork, documentation, the whole thing from beginning, from the idea and concept to actually getting the thing on a shelf. And there's no guarantee that you'll sell it as well. I mean, obviously, you're an established brand and your products are very, very well known. So you've got that. That's to your advantage. But I can understand the what modelers want and you as a company, what it is viable for you to produce as a business, which is what you are at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yes. Obviously, the modelers want something, and sometimes they don't figure out how difficult it is to do something because the regulation, the labs for each country, the exportations, is not the same to produce something here and sell here in France or in Spain than to send to Brazil, or to Japan or to Canada, because each country have different regulations and they request from you a lot of information. Sometimes even they reject a full palette because one document is missing. So all of this is getting complicated in the world, not only in Europe. In the last years, because I remember when I started, that was not necessarily any kind of information or anything, but now it's getting worse and worse in all countries around the world. So this probably will destroy many small business in the future, especially about paintings, not about resin or plastic or something like that, but about painting. It is getting so hard, almost like food products.
Yeah.
About the regulations, no? And
that's fine. We have choice, don't we, as modelers? That's what everybody has. So, Mig, your colour accuracy is very often praised by modelers for being very good. How do you research and validate historic or authentic colour tones across subjects and eras?
Interesting question, and probably each company producing colors will tell you something totally different, no? My background is art. I am coming from art university, and is what I made during all my life. So I am used to interpretation. I am used to decipher, to see through the photos and to see if this color is like this or that. One day I make one experiment by making a Spanish green color for a Spanish army. And I found around 4 or 5 different photos of different vehicles painted with the same color. And in each photo, the green was totally different. And then I make one color. I painted one example, one turret of one tank turret. And I took the same kind of photos that the examples that I saw from the reality. And was incredible how using the same color, but taking different photos from different situations with sun, cloudy, in the shadow, view of time, also different views of the same color. What this means, that sometimes, even if you take the real color, base your colors in federal standard, in RAL, and in others, because we use chart colors from federal standard and many others, no? Because sometimes, for example, American plane for the interior of a Corsair is this federal standard. So we take the color chart, we select this one, we send to the laboratory, and we develop our own interpretation of that federal standard. But what happens when you use that color? You start painting your model and looks much more darker.
Scale effect.
Than what you see in the reality. Or the camouflage, that is even worse. Because even if you take the real color of a plane and you paint your model, probably you will have time a very ugly effect. Why? Because that model reflects less light than a real object, obviously. So now is when you must decide if you want to be absolutely 100% accurate and left in the modeler hands to fix that, or if you want to give something adapted to the modeling. And don't forget it, we are not engineers, we are not specialized, we are just normal person trying to have fun. You just want to do something that looks like, finish your model and start a new one. Most of the people around the world just want to do that. So my opinion, that probably is not the correct one, is try to adapt everything to the modeling, if it's possible. Sometimes it's not possible, sometimes it's not necessary, but in another occasion, for some kind of color, you say, oh my God, it's too green, or it's too bright, or it's too dark. Let's make it more lighter or different to make it more attractive. No? So this is
I understand.
A matter of interpretation of your own product. If you buy AIMO product, you know that is more for modelers, for have fun, and that's all. Don't ask me accuracy. If you want accuracy, just go to a museum or to the factory, take the real color and spend your time doing something like that. If you just want fun and relax, this is your brand.
Just one point on the color research. There seems to be a very big fad or craze at the moment of colorizing black and white photographs with what people actually interpret as being, quote, real colors these days. And there's no way to actually cross-reference from the original photograph to the original color. Is it becoming more difficult when you're looking for research material to actually find what is a genuine photograph compared to what you would have looked at 5 or 10 years ago?
Obviously, this is something, in my opinion, that is like a kind of training. When you are very well trained interpreting black and white photos, you can be more closer to those photos or not. But it's a matter of investigation. It's like all things from the story.
Archaeologists.
Yes, sorry. It's not a typical word a common word for me. So we must do that work, and many modelers do that very well. Some people spend weeks, months, even years just searching information from books, comparing, reading information from the factory. So sometimes those people make a fantastic job. I remember, and probably maybe some of you guys remember Mirko Bajan from Sweden. He was participating in Folkestone many years in Euromillitar, and he spent almost all his life investigating about the colors, about talking with veterans, trying to find real pieces from the battlefields where the real colors appear. So this is a beautiful part of the modeling, just to investigate and to see if this green or this black and white could be this green or this brown, no? And sometimes when we finish that work, in the future appear a cover photo of this vehicle for some reason and destroy everything that you made, no? So sometimes this is something beautiful from modeling, that you can choose to do that work, or you just have fun painting something and making weathering. Like, for example, in my case, no, I prefer matte, I prefer rust, chipping, because it's where I have fun. And sometimes I don't take care too much about the camouflage, no, because probably I will cover everything with matte, dust, and stowage sometimes. But it's difficult to find a way. If a black and white photo is this color or that one, is almost impossible to be 100% sure. You can be closer, but probably another guy from another country will give you with another information and probably will tell you that you are wrong. No? I remember many conversations of people talking about if this kind of gray is the brown or the green. And that was an epic fight in the forums a long time ago.
Yes.
But anyway, it's something that each one must interpret, and this is part of the fun, no?
Yes, agreed. My annoyance is where people are colouring black and white photographs, putting them onto the internet and saying, look, this is fantastic. I've got this. And you're looking at a German tank that has got the back of the tank painted bright red because the computer has actually taken the tone and got it completely wrong.
Are these done by AI, though, again?
Yes. The trouble is, because the photographs are not being marked as being coloured, in a couple of years' time, people will look at this and say, look, I've got an original photograph of a German tank, and it says it should be bright red. That is what I think is more annoying. And if I see a colourised photograph, I will look at that and actually take the tonal back out of it and turn it back into a black and white. So I'm looking at it through my interpretation rather than what the computer's looking at.
That point, sorry to add a little more information about that, especially right now with artificial intelligence programs that they can do everything. Probably sooner or later we'll be able to colorize photos automatically, just with a click.
Yes.
Just writing a prompt, and you will obtain one black and white photo totally colorized, and even with movement. And we can see that right now, all of this, no, with photos of people that passed away many years ago, and now they came to the life. But this is something similar to the fake news in internet. Everybody now can write everything about everything. Everybody know about medicine. Everybody know about politics. Everybody know. So the point is, a lot of information right now, including black and white photos colorized, no? You must decide what is true and what not, what you want to take like a real information or not. We are, unfortunately, we are moving forward in this world. We are in continual evolution, and we are now in a new age, a totally new age, and we need to learn how to handle all of those problems that are affecting our lives. Long time ago, when we were younger, just a black and white photo book from Hilary Doy or other, Steve Zaloga or other people was the only information, the only information in the market. So the only possibility to take information was open that book and read what Steve Zaloga say about this tank or the other. But now, this is end. Now we have million of fake information. Yes. And so, and we need to learn how to handle with all of that. But anyway, one more time, please, let me tell you that even if we enjoy making accurate things, we must remember that we are just making plastic and modeling. So don't take too seriously. And if you want to pay something in Red Prime because you like it, do it. And now I will tell you the key and the secret if you want to do that. Under your imagination or your interpretation, try to make it as most realistic and credible possible. If you want to paint a component in red primer because you like it, try to make it realistic. Don't make like fantasy, okay? And then you will be successful.
Yes, I fully agree.
Okay, so you've got a huge global following. How important is the modeler's feedback with regards to development and production and direction?
Remember what I say at the beginning, that for me, the most important in my life is to teach others to achieve their goals. So try to imagine how important is what the people say for me. This is why the other day in Washington, in IPMS, one important distributor came to me and he told me, hey, you are the first CEO that not only manage a company, but he's in every places, making pen demonstration, making the conference, talking with the people and doing all kinds of things. And this is because for me, the most important is what the people think, what the people need, what they want, which one are their problems, because you have no idea how many people cannot distinguish between lacquer, enamel, or acrylic. And we are in 2025. And many people cannot see the difference. So for me, it's very important to absorb all of that information from every places in the world and try to create solution for them. This is why, for example, one of our best sellers also in the company is the solution boxes. That is a box that contains everything, including a book that is like Lego instructions, super easy for everybody. And this is because my experience talking with people about their problems, how to follow a process, how to make the techniques, when you need to apply the varnish, when you need to apply the decals or very basic things like those. No? So for me, all my work, everything that we make is only and because the modelers around the world.
What trends are you currently seeing in the hobby, and how do you see Ammo adapting to the next generation of scale modelers?
Well, I see like two parts, no? Obviously, the modeling is changing so fast, but not in the way that we are thinking. Not about the techniques or product, it's about the subjects. Some people, especially in Europe, are thinking, oh, the people is going down, it's the less and less young people. Probably you have heard something like that before.
Yeah.
And this is not totally real, because it's not that the young generation don't want to follow the modeling or concept of modeling. They are just following another direction like Warhammer, like Gundam, robots, fantasy. We have no idea about all of that because we are very focused in planes, tanks, ships, and that's all. So the modeling is going in two directions. The classic one, like everybody know, and the other direction about other subjects that are very far from what we are doing right now. This is one point. And obviously, each day, less people will make planes and tanks, unfortunately. Why? Because right now, you guys, for example, that are more or less my age, I am 51 right now, we have memories watching war movies in the television when we are children, and we saw the Shermans, Normandy, and things like that, no?
Yeah.
But the young generation never has seen something like that before, and for them it's not interesting because they have no interest in a Spitfire, in a Sherman, or in a Tiger One. So this is the real problem in one side. It's like when we were young and some people talk about Napoleonic leaf figures, no? This is for my grandfather, but this is not for me. It's very boring.
Yeah.
The other point is the technology. Actually, for example, people who make you guys planes, probably you have seen the Red Fox instrument panels for planes, for the cockpits, with color, with relief, with things like that. Many years ago, and unfortunately I haven't heard the places where I say, I anticipate that in the future, the models will be painted in your computer, not with your paints. Because sooner or later, that technology that now for you looks fantasy, now, for example, the 3D printing is more or less understandable by all of you. Okay, it is a kind of replacement of the resin products. But as soon as you can start printing the 3D elements, you will not need to paint your models anymore. Because you will be able to use application as software in your computer where using different filters and tools like Photoshop, but more easy, like a kind of a game, you will be available to put your camouflage color, the numbers, the symbols in your tank, even to paint sound effects directly over the 3D printed parts.
I hope they won't be able to weather them. That's the favorite bit.
Even the weathering. For example, probably you guys, have you played to War of Tanks or War Thunder? No?
Mike will. Yeah.
Well, maybe some people who play World of Tanks, I play because I love it. And I took a lot of inspiration from that. For example, the modulation style, one of the origins of that was from World of Tanks. And now it's very common and popular in every places. Right now in those games, you can see incredible weathering effects that even you cannot do in your own models. And one more interesting things. People who made those skins for those three-dimensional tanks in World of Tanks game, they are coming from the modeling. They take the inspiration from modeling to create those textures for the tanks for a video game. So now try to imagine that those people just create a software where you can just play painting your tank and printing at the same time in the scale that you want. Try to imagine right now the people playing to war games with 1/72 or 1/76 scale tanks. They can print the colors, the numbers, everything, sound effects, print it in 1 hour and ready to play. But if you want to make something bigger, you can print everything, including the effects, the chipping, and everything with much more accuracy than with your hands. So for me, this is the future, even if it's negative for a company who produce paints, but the future is that, and sooner or later we will see that, because I already have seen something similar. In fact, I made 1/16 figures of myself and my wife, who passed away. I make a scan 360 degrees around. They take you photos around. They put in the computer and they printed with color, all my face, my eyes, everything in a perfect reproduction in a 1/16 scale. And that was great. Probably if you search a little in internet about that, you can find these kind of figures that become very popular because it's like a super ultra realistic figure in 1/16. So how much time we need to do that in 1/35 scale or 1/72 or just make a completely tank?
The thing with that though, Mig, is we're not modelers anymore. People who will be doing that won't be modelers anymore, will they? They will be computer geeks. They won't pick up a kit and put it to, that's where the fun for a modeler is, isn't it?
No, listen, sorry. This is our perception because we are like our grandfathers making Napoleonic figures right now.
Yep.
We are thinking in the same way. We think because they don't make Napoleonic figures like I made, they are not modelers anymore. No. It's like when the computer appeared, because I am coming from the graphic designer and art and everything. In the beginning, everybody made everything using makers and using brushes and everything to make illustration or make books or magazines, or everything was made manually. Everything. Then appeared the Photoshop and everybody say, oh my God, this is not the same, it's not artisanal, everybody can do it now. Everybody say that. And right now, listen, even worse, because the artificial intelligence is coming, and that can make graphic design, can make illustration, can make absolutely everything. And we are thinking the same. Oh, the illustrator will lose their job. The graphic designer will lose the job. And the modeling also will disappear. But it's not. It's just a transformation.
Yeah, I get what you're saying now, yeah.
Or why not we are making scale models with wood and a hammer and a cincel or something like that? Why not? Because the plastic appear.
Yeah, we've moved on.
Yes. So it's a transformation. It's not the end of the modeling, just a transformation.
Okay. Thank you for that. Boulders.
So education seems to be essential to the Ammo brand, which, in all honesty, you have to be commended on. With books, tutorials and how-to content, why is it important to you personally?
I didn't know when appeared that kind of feeling in my life, but since I was very young and I was able to paint very nice models, when in that time, when I was very young, the people came to me and told me, hey, I want to paint like you, please teach me how to paint. In that moment, I started teaching to those people, and I discovered that was an incredible pleasure to me. I was super happy doing that. I feel realized, I feel happy, I feel probably that feeling is also from teaching in the school or in university, but I feel happy when I am teaching to others. So this is why I based everything in teaching to others. In the beginning, through books and magazines. I started publishing in magazines in 1995 is when I started. And I published it in almost 18 different languages in the world. 18 languages. In Chinese, in Cantonese, in South Africa, and in all countries in the world. And this is what I really wanted to do, just to teach. So finally, I made more books, finally also DVDs, and actually videos in YouTube and others. For me, that is the most pure thing that one person can do, just to share with others what you have learned by yourself. Even some people are very hermetic and I don't want to share my techniques because others can copy me, no? But now that thanks that I was teaching during many years, now you can find in many contests very good modelers painting absolutely wonderful tanks and planes. So I think that this is just my goal, my personal goal, no? Just to teach. And this is why I put that vision in my own company.
No, they're superb. Like I say, I've got one here, which is probably the most trickiest one to do is bare metal. But yeah, it's superb. So obviously you've written and published dozens of guides. What's the one piece of advice that you can give to a beginner modeler starting out?
Sometimes the problem with the beginners is that they want to move forward too fast because they see what is in the internet or in the model contest. And this is hard to achieve in short time. But I always say, please don't take care about how others are painting or what other people think that must be the correct thing or not. The first advice that I say to the younger people or beginners is don't take care about the world. Just be focused in your table. When you are happy during the night, you open a box, smell the plastic, just enjoy that moment because at the end, is the only thing that you will miss in your life. That moment when you just open and, because, listen, I have been almost half of my life fighting with people in the forums about the colors, about the accuracy, about all kind of things. And you know, now that I become a professional with a company, what I really miss in my life is just open one box of anything, build out of box, painting like I want, and forget it, and do another one. This is what I really miss after all my life making modeling.
That's very good advice, Mig. So with so many products bearing your name, how do you balance the creative and business sides of being the face of Ammo?
For me, probably was something very strange because my name was associated to the products and also to my companies and even to my competitors' company because they bought my name from my ex-company. So that was like a mess, no? Everything very confused. And my name is absolutely a nightmare right now for me. Because it was just my name. And for me in the beginning, the most easy was to put my name to my products. And that's all. Because no other alternative in that moment. Now, my name is associated to many products, even to products that are not mine, actually sometimes. And some people also even think that some products that I never made also are mine. So it's crazy. It's crazy. But anyway, I get used to it during years because I was traveling around the world many times, so I always find that problem. I understand that the people associate me to a brand, to a product, and to modeling in general. So for me, it's not a problem anymore. During my life, I was very conflicted in myself, inside me. Sometimes I wanted to change my name, but right now I feel in peace and calm, and I don't take care even if the people make mistakes with my name or products. So it's not a big deal right now.
So what's next for Ammo, Mig? Is there any new directions you're taking, collaborations or secret projects that you can tease or hint for our listeners?
Well, right now, because hard year is nothing in the life of a company, we launched a new range of colors that is ionic, that is mostly for Warhammer and fantasy miniatures, and we are working very hard in that direction right now. Even working with important companies inside that world. Of course, it's not it's not my area. But I am very excited about that, and I am painting also things for that area. But talking about more weathering, right now in October, we will launch another revolutionary product or adaptation that will make the weathering much more easy, about to make the rust and dirt and shades and many things. Was something like the old brushes in that moment in comparison with the normal oils. Okay, in October, we will launch that new evolution that right now, if someone stole that new tool from me, I will stop making models, because that is making my life so easy, and will be just in October. Sometimes it's impossible to stay continually innovating and creating new things, especially in modeling, because if you go for technology, this is something traditional that needs paint and glue and plastic, or some different materials. So sometimes it's difficult to innovate, but it's possible, and is what we are doing right now in the incoming months. So
I'll look forward to October then for the new announcement, definitely.
No, will be I promise you that probably you guys, you will love it, because you will say, oh my God, so easy to do everything now. So easy and super fast. So I hope you like it when we release that in October.
Yeah, love the oil brushes. Starship Frill's probably my favourite colour, because it's just for everything. Absolutely everything. Tanks.
Everybody's favourite colour.
Yeah.
Thank you. No, but this new product will be even more easy than the old brushes. So it's like another step forward. So,
is it going to be based for aircraft or tanks, or is it everything?
For aircraft, trains and tanks will be. Because trains is something that I love it also. So I always try to do things for trains, because it's one of my favorite subjects. But one important thing, guys, that I want to explain you about how we develop the product, which is interesting to understand our philosophy, to see the difference with other companies, is that I always develop all my products and ideas thinking about shortage of time. Always people who are married with children, you are working very hard during all your day, and you arrive to home and probably you have only 1 hour. So everything that I made during all my life is for people who have no time. You want to save time. Probably you have a nice work, you have money, but you haven't time. And this is a common problem around the world. So all of those products that we made is just to save you seconds, minutes, and hours when you are doing something, because the most important is to give you time to finish your model, and that's all, and save time.
I like the sound of that, definitely.
No question. That sounds fantastic. Okay, Nevs.
What was your earliest memory building model kits, and who bought that model kit that started your hobby?
Well, I started modeling, just making my first model just with cardboard and plastiline. And then I constructed a semi-hard track or a tank, and then I painted. I remember to do that since I was 7 or 8 years old. When for first time I discovered what was the plastic, I was so excited, and I said, "Oh my God, that is incredible!" Because until that time, all that I used was were materials that you can find in your home, like paper, wood, or wire, or things like that. So I remember one summer that we went to camping for 1 month with my father. And I told him, "Hey, I discovered that you can buy plastic kits. So let's go to a shop. I would like that you give me like a present for first time, one of those." And he told me, "Okay, but promise me that you will build during the month that we will be in the camping." So we went to the shop, and he gave me like a present, just a Italeri Crusader, the Crusader from Italy that was painted. The cover was painted by François Berlinden, and was an incredible kit. Even for nowadays, if you open that box, it's absolutely amazing and accurate. And that was my first kit. And of course, I built and finished in the same night that he bought the kit. So he was very upset with me and disappointed and furious because I finished it in only one night. And it's a complex kit, but I finished it so fast. And that was my first kit, and I never forget it. In fact, I bought again just to have in my collection, just like a memory. So
No, that's really good.
that was my story.
After you built the Crusader, Mig, was there a kit that you saw and thought that is my dream kit? That's the kit that I really want to buy.
Probably many of you guys know me that I like Russian stuff, no? Because the shapes, they are very different to the Western stuff. And my dream during all my life was the T-55. I remember at the beginning just buying the old T-55 from SC that was terrible bath, but even that I bought many of them and always making T-55 until one day dreaming with Tamiya. "Hey, please Tamiya, I hope someday you make a T-55. Finally, they released the T-55 and I was so happy. But it was not only my dream in plastic kit, but also I was able to drive a T-55 in Hungary. So it's my favorite tank from all times, not only in plastic, but also in real.
Did you do a video doing that? A YouTube video when you was driving?
Yes,
I think I've seen you. I think I've seen that.
At the beginning of some videos, when I talk about tanks, I always put that video of me driving the T-55. It was so funny. The smell of the petrol, the oil. The floor, a very important point for people making interiors in tanks, that most of the times the people always paint interior totally white or clean.
They're not. The hatches are darker color, aren't they?
Yes, everything came inside. But I remember that T-55 that was in perfect condition, operative, and the floor was a sea of oil mixed with grease, completely black and moving from frontal to back. Was like a swimming pool of oil and petrol. And I cannot forget that because the smell was so hard. And obviously, when you are, for example, fighting with a T-55 in Syria, for example, in the desert, the dust are coming, the hair and everything is coming inside, and it's like a kind of terrible vision, no, of the floor full of black texture, mud or wet, terrible. And this is something that not too many people do in interiors. And it's very, very, very common, especially in this kind of tanks. Second World War, T-34, probably in German tanks also. So keep in mind if you are making interiors. Maybe not in a M1 Abrams, no, but
was it easy to drive?
Well, it's like a tractor.
Was it the levers, the pull things yet? Wasn't a steering wheel.
No, it's just two palancas, and it's curious because you must be very sensitive with the position. If not, maybe you are turning to the left or right too fast, and you can broken easily. So it's strong, but it's a bit tricky, you know. And you always need to control the oil pressure and everything because those tanks can be overheat easily if you don't drive correctly, changing the gear. So probably it's more easy to drive a M1 Abrams. That is like a automatic car, probably. But was very interesting.
If you hadn't pursued a career in modelling, what direction do you think your life would have taken you? What kind of profession would you like to work in?
Oh, I cannot say that in public. Because it's illegal. Suffering and selling fruits and living in hard conditions, I thought, oh my God, I wanted to dedicate my life doing something more illegal and more easy. So I cannot say here, but something legal. Really, I don't know. No, I was graphic designer. And I was working for a music company, for a dance and techno music company. And that was my path. That was my destiny, you know, just work like an art director. But the graphic designer is a very hard work.
Yeah.
And honestly, today I don't know what could I do, no? But probably something illegal.
Oh, yeah. We'll subtly edit that part. I don't drown him.
I don't know. There's some comedy value there. Definitely.
So just...
I'm a retired gigolo. What are you on about? I had a great life.
No.
So just one final question for you, Mig. I know you build a lot of armour, a lot of vehicles, but just touching on when you've built ships, are there any particular tips that you'd have? Do you think... do you prefer to build your ships with a full hull, like the lower hull, or do you do it on a seascape?
Oh, in fact, because you like ships, me too, a lot. My problem is the lack of time for those things, no? But not too long time ago, I finished a submarine in 1/72 from Das Bear, and also I made a Sheffield in 700 scale, the Sheffield in Falklands War. In fact, this is one of my favorite subjects, everything related with the Falkland Wars. But curiously, I love the full hull ships because I like to paint all effects in the hull. But also, in another hand, sometimes I like to make a little diorama. So maybe it's better hard, no? But if I want to choose, always full hull, because I think that is part of the boat. And even it's curious that sometimes some ships have an incredible, rare and attractive hull.
Yeah.
That is not the classic one, no? So you are losing a lot of information if you make only half of the ship. So this is why I don't like sea line models, no, from Tamiya or those. No? You the same, James?
Yes. So on our previous episodes with Wongi much prefers the seascape, the waterline, whereas I much prefer the having the full hull. So like on this one, this was a Hasegawa waterline kit.
Yeah, this is.
And I 3D printed my own lower hull.
Oh. And look that, because the shape of the front of the boat is in each one is different. So you are losing all of this if you are making only half. So, but I like everything. I like planes, ships, cars. But one day I was forced to dedicate my life in only one direction. I choose tanks because for me it was more easy. But always when I have time in my home, only for me, only for my hobby, I make ships, planes, Tintia fiction and everything, and trains.
That's really interesting, and I think you've answered one of Brownie's questions. That obviously, I think Tim Holland said to us, he said modelers start with aircraft, then gravitate to AFVs, and finally end up at ships. Like you're an oracle by the time you're modelling ships, and some of us get there faster than others. So that's really interesting.
The problem of the ships is that it's really difficult and hard, more than planes and more than tanks. Ships is not for everybody, man.
No, of course.
Especially if you're having problems with your eyesight.
Yes.
Yeah, make it a HMS Sheffield in 1/72nd. That would work. New range for you.
The start wheel. Oh, could be nice. No, in fact, I saw that a Chinese brand will release the Sheffield in 350 scale, and I saw it and looks very accurate and very nice. And if I am able to buy this kit, probably I will do again in big scale, because I love that ship.
Okay, you talked about your interest in the Falklands conflict. You recently released the Aces Legacy Focke-Wulf 190 collaboration with Edward. Have you thought of perhaps connecting with Kinetic and doing a Falklands series with the Pucara and the Sea Harrier and the Harrier GR3?
Especially with Kinetic, we are almost like brothers. We work together, and even we made the graphic design for them sometimes, so we have a very close collaboration. Even we made the Spanish Harrier with them, with Kinetic, also the F105. So sometimes if we see the gap or we see something interesting, we collaborate, like we made also with Edward, or like we made also with Tacom, that we made several kits. But the problem of the Falcon Wars is that the Pucara is already Kinetic made, so it's probably not interesting to make a new version of that, because the Kinetic one is already include everything, and the Harrier too. So Kinetic already have those. So in the case of Edward, with the Focke-Wulf 190, is different because we make like a super special box with all accessories, photo aids, resin, even an exclusive figure, and also including 5 different versions from different pilots, no? So that was something different, but it's not the same to do that for the Pucara, for example. Even if it's something that I like it personally, it's not as popular like the Second World War or other conflicts, no? I understand that the Falcon Wars is something minority, probably in Argentina and England and UK is very popular and the people like it, but it's not as popular like, for example, Imperial Navy, Japanese Zeros, and American fleet in the Pacific or in Europe. So
it's very popular. The Falklands conflict is very popular in the United States. There's a lot of people actually follow and actually model the Falklands conflict in America.
Oh yeah.
Which was something that surprised me when I found that out. But there's a lot of groups over there that actually just concentrate on the Falklands War.
Oh, interesting. Very interesting.
Okay. So my final question is, obviously you don't have that much spare time because you're either flying across the world to model conventions or things like that. What is currently on your workbench that you're building for yourself rather than for the company?
Well, I have 2 places of work. One is in my company. Obviously, I have here a studio to make YouTube videos and everything. I have another area just for painting and another area just for construction. I am the only modeler here, physically here inside the company, because we are in a very abandoned and very far little village in Spain. We are not in a big city. So I have here also my office And here I control the whole company. Most of my time making meetings, controlling the production, the parcels, and just trying to control the different groups inside the company. We have big departments of logistics, sales, graphic design. So this is my job here. But in the evenings, when I am more or less alone, I have here a place where I am painting models. I am right now working with a 116 Sherman in Korean War. That this is what I have in the table, and a MMX-10 in Ukraine. It is exactly what I have right now in my table here in the war. But those models are for future projects, for photos, videos, and everything. But in my home, I have another workbench where I do different things. For example, little fantasy figures, little planes, or little something, or something that I just want to be like for fun. But I do that with no hurry, just for relax and just for myself. So I have 2 places for modeling.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Well, Mig, thank you very much for your time. I'd like to first off shout out to Jamie from your corporate communications and social media team for arranging this.
And I haven't enough time to manage everything. So thanks to Vladimir and Jimmy, that those are the person who helped me a lot.
Much appreciated. And we'd like to give you a big thank you for actually joining us on Beyond the Box Art. It's been a real privilege having you on the show, hearing your insights, your passion specifically, and the story behind your journey. We know our listeners will take so much inspiration from what you have shared today. Thank you again for giving us your time, and hopefully you'll come back on again in the future and be a friend of the pod.
Well, thank you to you guys, because that moment, that experience with you guys was fantastic to talk with all of you. For me, was very exciting and pleasant. I am sure that sooner or later you will call me again to do something like that, talking about what happened in the future with the 3D and the coloring, the modelings with the computer and all of this. You will need to call me, Mig. We need you again to talk about that. So thank you guys. It was a pleasure.
Fantastic. Awesome.
Thank you very much, Mig. Absolute pleasure. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. I hope we can meet again. Bye-bye, my friends. Bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Well, that's a wrap on episode 8. The whole team were blown away with the chat with Mig. Thank you once again, my friend, and we can't wait to see what the new weathering system is in October. Plus, with the promise that Mig will return, if you ever needed an excuse to subscribe to the pod for free in your podcast app of choice, and to help with the analytics by giving us 5 stars, that was a very good reason. Looking ahead to episode 9, we're thrilled to welcome Mark Robson, owner of Qatari in New Zealand. Mark will be talking about the exciting, freshly announced 148th Handley Page Halifax. Yes, you heard me correctly. As well as unveiling all the latest from Qatari and sharing stories from his modelling journey. Plus, we'll have the one and only Martin Drayton from MD Scale Models talking about his sublime dioramas and all things scale modelling. Thanks for tuning in to Beyond the Box Art, where the only thing more colourful than our projects is our enthusiasm. Until the next time, keep your brushes wet and your ideas sharp. Bye-bye.
Full God, here we go again.